So this is the second in our series of beginner character sculpting. We're doing Stitchzilla, so Godzilla mashed up with Stitch, and in this video we're going to look at doing his a little bit of painting to give us some reference, and then we're going to do his claws, his toenails, and his amazing Godzilla spikes down the back. So let's get started then. So the first thing I want to do is take a look at the environment lighting. So if you come up to the lighting tab up here, and if you look here, we've got a really like a dark, muggy environment. The first thing before you even do that is check that you're not on matte cap, because if you are, that's kind of a locked, it's a way of a material that fakes lighting. We don't want that for this scenario. You can sculpt with that, but most of the time you're going to want to be in this one because it's called lit PBR, or physically based rendering. Because we're going to add lights at the end, we might as well be working in this world anyway. So go back to here. Don't like that dark horrible grey one. He's quite a bright character, so we'll pick something that's got a nice bright external. Now you can't see it around, but he is being reflected on by that world. So that's a good start there. You can see it in his eyes, actually. That's probably where you can see it the best. But we're going to get rid of all that shininess off his body anyway. So let's just make sure, did I just accidentally tap that? No, that looks good. So with 3 fingers, you can roll that lighting around. We don't need that yet, but I'm just showing you how to do it. And then what we want to do is go and pick a blue that we like. So something that matches roughly what his body's going to look like, the whole of his body. I'm just going to check one more thing, the outline is on, which it wasn't. So let's find a blue. It doesn't have to be exactly like my reference, but something somewhere close to it, something like that. It's a bit darker, which I quite like. And then if you just hit paint all, it'll paint it that colour. Now we can do the head that colour. We can pin this open actually while we're doing this. So hold that open and pin it. And then head, paint it all. Arms, paint all. Legs, paint all. Feet, paint all. And then they're all done. We won't do the ears because it would be nice with the ears if we kept that pink. Now, we could flood it all and redo them. I'll hit this one down here called Solo, and I'll just go in with the paintbrush activated, and I'll just basically paint around these edges and see where we get. We might come back to this later on, but I'm not overly worried either way. So the grey colour at the edge is just where the different materials are meeting. So I'm going to quickly bash our way around. I'm not taking a lot of time over this, as you can see. And just make sure we cover that edge like so. And then if we smooth it down anywhere that we're not really happy with it, it'll just blend that in for us, which will be more than enough for our little this second part of the video. Again, all of this can be tightened up and cleaned up later. Get rid of that Solo, and there you go. You've got your dark bits are all done. So now what we want is the light bits. So we're going to come over here. We're going to go a lot lighter green, go back onto the body and see what that looks like. It's not far off, maybe a bit lighter, a bit brighter. So you won't get it too bright with this lighting yet, because obviously he is he's not lit in any way yet. So see how jagged that edge is there. If you want to get it any smoother while we're doing this test painting, you just have to increase the resolution. So you could just go basically drag the resolution back up that you already had. This is just a modified sphere at this point. And this painting is almost like just like a temp painting, really, in a way, to just help you define what he looks like. I sometimes find it looks good if you're building a character to have it painted roughly the colour that you want. Now, what I said to you about the lighting is we're not covering lighting in this scenario, but I am going to actually add a light. So we've got an environment light, and I'm just going to add one extra light here. I'm going to bring it round this way. We grab the brown bit, and then this bit is the actual direction of the light. And make sure we're on up here. What we want to make sure is we're on spotlight, and there you can see it's dropping a light. That's going to give us much more of a colour of what our stitch is going to be like. See how the lighting's too harsh? So come over here and we can just go intensity up, which is fine. And then we want the softness right up. And the cone angle, so how wide is the light? Much like that. So look how different that is with the lighting. Just with putting that light in, that's going to help us model. So the colour is a difficult one when you haven't got the lighting right. So sometimes I like to just get going like this, and then we you know, so we now know that that's a shadow on his belly. If we move this lighting around, you can see that lighting all moves. So it just helps you almost sculpt in a real way. So we've got that light colour going up to his belly. Now we want it going across his mouth. So we'll go on to the head, and we'll just paint him something like roughly like that. Again, I want it more resolution, which makes the painting better. So up that resolution again, and we'll just drag a mouth across there. Now, say for example, I didn't like that, and I've gone too far and I want the other colour back. I can now colour pick the other colour and then bring that back like that. So that's a definite win, being able to colour pick from a model, like something like that. And then go back with the picker and pick the other colour again. And then we want something around his eyes, don't we? So we want a line all the way around his eyes to give us that really classic stitch look. And straight away he changes. That look changes him instantly. You know, it really does highlight how much that, you know, just by changing that one little thing, you can change the entire character. I'm just going to do a dark blue here, and this will be for his palms of his hands, maybe on his feet later on, something like that. Now, just one thing I did notice, that nose has got a pinch at the bottom, so I'm going to go back here and I'm going to go and open that pinch up a little bit, like so. You can see there it wasn't quite matching, something like that. Okay, so look at how different that is already. Now, what I am going to do is I'm going to save that. So save as, we'll call it Stitchzilla, new one, and we're going to call that one video 2, Stitchzilla video 2, part 1, because I'm going to save these and use them later on. So now we're ready to go to the next stage. Actually, we're not, because look what I forgot. So I didn't catch his tail, did I? So we'll just go back to paint, and we'll go picker, pick the colour, back to the tail, and paint all, and there we go, it's flooded in. So we're ready to roll to the next bit. So what do we want to do next? So I think we do teeth, nails, and claws. So let's get that sorted. So first of all, let's sort his mouth out. So we'll go solo on his head, make sure that we're fully on the front like so, and I'm going to split with trim. Where are we now? Not with trim, sorry, with split and rectangle. I'm going to drag it right across that line that we've painted like so. So now we've got a top half and a bottom half. So we may have to paint that line a little bit at the bottom, but I'm not going to worry about that just at the moment, because what we've got now is a mouth, and it isn't shown on our model. But from the side now, I want to now roll him round a little bit like this. And that means we've just literally opened up Stitch's mouth like that. Something like that. I can bring it down a bit more if we want, rotate it a bit more. And we want to throw some teeth in there, basically. He's got a big, you know, big bitey mouth. So let's just go move. Again, not shown in the reference at this point. Doesn't matter one bit. You know, we all know this character's got this great big mouth full of teeth. So it looks a bit like Zippy from Rainbow here at the moment. But any second now, it's not going to look like that. So we'll take those two pieces. And remember, the head was one piece, and it's now two pieces. So we're just going to take the head split. And so basically that piece, and not the nose. So for the moment, we'll drag the nose out of the way up here. And we just want these two pieces here. So you can, the ones that are highlighted in with the white outline there. And we'll do a voxel merge of those. So we'll go up to the top. In fact, we'll just do it from here, Boolean. And we'll keep the resolution quite high. And we'll go voxel merge. And what that'll do is that will join our mouth to our back of our head. And then we'll just smooth that down. And that gives us everything we want for for his mouth. So I'll just smooth it inside. So holding down the smooth and smooth it along this front edge like so, and then internally, so inside his mouth, I want to pull it up inside where the teeth are going to sit, and then at the bottom just make sure it's going to sit like that. Now if it is that it's what, you know, you're trying to do something and it's pulling, so you're trying to pull the bottom and it's pulling the top, then you can just mask it off. So what does that mean? So we'll go like this, and instead of using mask over here, if you come to this side and use SEL mask and then rectangle and then drag down like so, that will mask off completely dark. You can't move the masked area now. So now if I do that move, you'll see what happens. So a big brush, so like so, and if you can see in the back there, it's trying to move, but it can't move. So you've got it completely locked off, and that's what masking is for, is to help you to protect areas in a situation like this. If I hold the mask and tap on the screen, it inverts it, and that means I can do exactly the same in, you know, up inside the top. And once you're happy, hold down mask and strike up, and that clears it off, and then smooth down any errors that you've made in the back down there. So let's slap a few spiky teeth in, because this is all in a good place. Now let's just put that head back in a row, if you remember where it was. So we don't want solo on for the minute. So we've got the ears. They're not actually named, are they? So ears, eyes. Oh no, they're already still in the. They're all already still in the hierarchy. So it's just the nose that we moved out. So move the nose back in. Oh no, they weren't actually. Move the ears back in. And there we go, there's the head back to being how it was. So next, let's add those teeth. So we'll go up to the top, add, and we'll do add sphere. I'm going to make these teeth slightly yellowy, something like that, with a bit of roughness, no metalness at all. I'm just giving it a little bit of a shine, something like that. And then basically paint all, and then scale it down. We don't need to edit this anymore, so it can be validated. So hit validate, and then we can go with a move tool. We can say move it up in the middle of that to give us the traditional kind of stitched tooth that we like, just basically just a big spike. And then bring it down, and then we're going to intersperse this along his jawline. So we'll just work on this side, on the right hand side. Move it around. His nose now is too low, so I'm going to bring that up. I'd actually moved his nose by mistake. And that one gets duplicated, so we'll actually we'll rename that so that we know. So name is going to be tooth. Take your time to do that. I haven't renamed it all yet, but we'll get to that. So bring that across, and then clone it, rotate it slightly, move it across, leave space for one at the top. So it's not far enough forward for me, so bring it forward, bring that one forward, and then go back to that one and clone it. This takes a minute, so don't worry if you take your time over this. Over there, we'll just do one more, flatten it down a bit. I'm shaping it a little bit as I'm going. Clone, rotate, and then up into that jaw a little bit, and that's them four done. So I'm going to go now and do let's move it in a little bit. It's popping through the bottom jaw there a little bit. That's them done. So with this one, so that's 4 in a row there, so we'll do this one and we'll clone it, and now we've got to rotate this one fully. This one's got to be part of the top teeth. See how useful the having the selection on the outline selection. It really makes it easy for you to see what it is you're actually doing. So there's another one done. Clone that, move that around, get him in place. Bit laborious here, I'm sorry, but it'll come good in a moment. Like so. And another one, rotate that one round. There we go, a little bit too far with that one. There probably is kind of canines, something like that. So those 4 on the top. So 1. Don't want that one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, isn't that one, is it? Oh, there's only 3 on the top, that's why. My fault. 3 on the top. 2, 3. And join them. So you don't need to merge these, you just join. And then the 3 previous ones, 1, 2, 3, 4 previous ones, and then join them. And then all we have to do is do symmetry across here, world, this way, and mirror. Say yes. And the same with the top ones. We'll say symmetry, world, mirror this way, mirror. Yes. And there you go. So that's all the teeth in line. Now he's got a bit of a gap at the top, so we might want to think about that, maybe add another tooth. But for now, that's given us some sort of teeth, which is pretty much what we wanted. Now I might now just close that mouth up a little bit. So just go back to move, and then just bring that up a little bit. Now we know what we're dealing with those teeth. We've got the shapes that we wanted. Just going to bring that in. And bring that one down a little bit like that, something like that. And there's our wide mouth, nasty looking stitch. Later on, we may tweak that a little bit. We might do more work with that, but we've got a nice mouth shape already defined as quickly as that, really. So, and those 2 teeth there, we'll drag them under the head. So they're in a hierarchy as well. So if you move the head with Gizmo, you get everything moving. So we didn't move tooth 4. We'll move that in, and there we go. That's all moved. So that's his teeth done. 2 more things to do really in this video really is the claws and the toes. So the toes, first of all, are going to need some actual toes. Before we put claws on it, we'll need toes. So we will, first of all, we'll split, or in fact, no, we can just trim. So we will use trim, rectangle, and we'll get rid of this one side. So we're going to work on 1 foot. So we'll name it foot. I like to do everything uppercase, so I know I've named it. And then we'll duplicate that. So clone it, and we will then take that clone, scale it down, bring it forward, and then crush it right down this way. And that means that's going to be the toe. So tap to the front, and then use the move tool and just move it around. This is going to be the toe that receives the toenail. So you can see that here on the reference image. So bring it around. That's that one. And then clone that, rotate that around and pop it in, like so. And do it one more time, like so. A bit more out the side, this one, and scale that one down as well. Make sure it goes all the way into the foot, like so. And then what does it look like from the front? Make sure we use the move tool. You want to get as much right as you can before you merge them together. Something like that. And that's the 3 of them all together, ready to receive the nail. So we'll take foot, 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 and that's all 4 of them together, and we will Boolean them with quite high because we're fine with it as it is, and then smooth all of that down, ready to receive those toenails. There you can see that it's ready now for the toenails to go on there. Toenails are simple spheres. We don't need to go complex with this. So add sphere. You should be getting fast at this now because it's basically the same thing over and over again. We'll go black, we've got a bit shiny, and paint all, scale it down, And there's our toenail done. Now with this toenail, we'll bring it forward with move. A lot of this can get quite repetitive because it's the same, you know, you are basically doing the same thing over and over again. But once you get quite fast at this, it just honestly, it just doesn't take long at all to learn how to do it. A lot of it is just knowing the shapes that you want and how to make them. So we've just used a lot of spheres really here. So bring that down. Oh, I'm just doing a little claw, as you can see. That's good. Now, what we will do is we'll call it nail, but we're going to make a copy of it. So we clone it, move that over the way, and that's the reason we do that is that's going to be used up here for, there's no reason why we can't use that for the fingernail. So we'll leave it up there out of the way. We'll go back to this one, scale it down, rotate it around the front. Now see how the pivot point seems at a different angle? You can change the pivot point easily by tap it here, and then you just move the pivot point, and then tap pivot again and see what's happened. So that, and maybe I want to do it again. So say pivot and move it up to the middle. And that means now it'll pivot exactly as I want it to. So smaller, you know, scale it down again, down into the foot. Bring it around here. And get it to the right size. And that is our stitches toe sorted. Bring it to the front because we don't want it going into the floor. Move it up. And then use the move tool because it looks a bit odd shaped. Like that, so it's more rounded. And up at the back. Once you're happy with one, you're pretty much guaranteed that it's going to be fine for the next one. So clone it, rotate it, move it along, and it virtually fits straight away with nothing else. So clone it, move it, scale it down, rotate it around, scale it down, move it. See what I mean about repetitive? It's the same stuff over and over again. This one was too low, look. So bring that up. And now move tool. That one's too low. Bring it up. And then maybe just change these toes a little bit. We will sculpt them up later, but we're going to do one sculpt pass over this entire model later. And that's the 3 claws done. If you zoom out now, they look absolutely fine. So if we want to do this one, and this one, and this one, and we want to join them, and then we'll mirror across the world. Yes, there you go. There's the 2 done there. Now we didn't mirror the new foot, did we? So take the foot and we'll do mirror, exactly the same thing, symmetry, mirror. Yes, there we go. So that's the foot claws done. So just the fingers. Now these are a lot thinner now, so we need to scale this down. And then remember what we did with the pivot point. We turn the pivot this way so it matches, and then we just scaled it out, or we can just scale it out this way like this. And now with a smooth and the move, you'll see what happens. And then we've got nice little claws. That's these claws in the background there. And they're going to go 1 in each finger, like so. And it's got his nice little claws. So we'll rotate it round, bring it up, and down. You just got basically now just pop them into each of the fingers. So let's take him around here, scale it down, and then make sure he fits from all angles. You can see how difficult it is when you haven't got your initial orientation right, and that looks good. That one's fine. A bit further, clone that one. You should get really familiar with this by this sort of stage. You should be doing this, you know, quite fluently. So we're just cloning, rotating, if needed, move the pivot point. But again, we're not even sculpting at this stage. So far in these 2 videos, we've hardly sculpted anything. All we've done is blocked out an entire character with primitive shapes. This is a really, really good process to learn. You know, if you can get this under your belt before you even dive into sculpting, you're well on the way. Definitely, if you can learn all of these little processes, you'll find that you've once you get to really hardcore sculpting, you've got it mastered. So that's that one done, and there we go. So that's 4 nails done as well. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5. So it's them 4 there, and we do join, and we can even do at this point do a symmetry. So we'll do the same again. And there we go. So what that's done for us is, in a very, very short space of time, let me get rid of the background for a moment and just show you. In a very, very short space of time, that has given us a much, much nicer looking character. It's not right yet, it's not fully finished, the mouth isn't right, but what we've done is we've got the character well on the way. Because we're doing nails, teeth and claws, we should really do the spikes down his back. So the spikes down his back, if I bring the reference back, are like this. So he's on perspective there, so I'll get rid of it. So they are big spikes, and then basically made out of 3 shapes, and I just used, as usual, I just used a sphere that I pulled. So it's simple to do. So we do add, we'll use sphere, we'll go find the color that we like, which is something along the lines of a really bright aqua, something like that. Don't want any roughness on it at all, don't want it shiny at all. And then bring it down like this, left and right, so we've got it looking very much like that. That's too dark, isn't it, actually? So let's brighten that up as much as we can. Something like something along the lines of that. Yeah, and where the light's going to hit it, it's going to look quite the right sort of colour. So for this one now, we want to bring it with symmetry on. So we need to make sure that our symmetry is on. We're going to use validate, so we can now work on it. We're going to use move, and we're going to make a spike out of it like this, something like that. And that gives us bit wider, gives us our first part of our first spike. Now if you look at the spikes, each one's made out of 3. So what we can do is clone, rotate that forward, scale it down and move it out. They're a little bit like dog's teeth, actually. I don't know how I designed. I assume I was looking at the actual Godzilla when I was doing it, because he has something very similar to that. And then bring the last one down, something like that. That's all 3 of them together. Okay, so we take all 3 spheres, we'll do a Boolean, fairly high, voxel merge, okay, and they're all 3 together. Come down to crease down here, and we just put some nice details into the spike. So something like that. That one and that one, and then smooth them down. And then maybe just using the move tool, maybe just pull that down a little bit, and that one a bit back. And there's your first spike. So we're going to litter him all the way down his back. So I'm going to do it in 3 sets. I'm going to do one set on the head, one on the back, and one on the tail. So we'll bring it down into his head first of all, and let's line him up, and we can see that he's got 1, 2, 3 sets. So 1 is already in place. So we'll do, in fact, we'll rename it first of all. We'll just call this back plate. Back plate. And then we'll go clone, move it along, rotate it, move it into the head. Scale that one down a bit. Actually, I think that one might need scaling a bit. And then the third one, so clone, roll it round, scale it down. This is a lot smaller, going into the back of the head, like so. And that's them three. I want them together, but then I'm going to do clone, scale it down really small, and then I'm going to angle it out to the side and move it out to the side, something like that. So I want it having, you know, much more of a spiky effect. I'll make that one wider as well. Clone that one. Oop, that didn't work. So clone that one. Like so. Bring him out, and then we'll join them two. So that one and that one, we'll just join them. We will bring them across with symmetry. So world that way and mirror. Yes, so there's the spikes on the head. So that's that assembly done. So we need to start on the back. So clone that one and bring it down. Now everything else, all the other back plates apart from that one I've just copied, can all be joined now. So that entire head assembly can all be joined into one. So join them. Now one. So the back one, we'll push that down deep into his spine like that. And then I think there's only two on his back according to that reference that I made. So bring him down, rotate him around, in, something like that. That's them two together, so clone that one. And then we'll just join the first two. Join. And then the third one here, we'll move it down the tail. We're nearly there. Let's just hide that. So there was only two on the tail. So according to this reference in the background, so one. And then two. Scale it down a bit. Make it long a bit. There we go. And that is our initial Godzilla scales. If I roll the lights around with 3-finger roll, you can see how it looks. It's casting nice shadows. Once we light this, those that you know, they will make a really big difference and make it a really nice character. So I'll bring that light round to the front. So that is our teeth, our toenails, our hand nails, our fingernails, and our Godzilla spikes. So on to the next video. I hope you're enjoying these videos, and if you are, please give us a thumbs up, because it does help us to get in front of other people who like this kind of content. And if you like this kind of content, then subscribe to the channel and you'll get more of it every week. Don't forget, we've just released a new creature course if you're interested in this kind of thing. So there's plenty of information down below if you are after that kind of information. Have a great week, everyone.